poll shows President Obama's support among our active duty military is now at an all-time low, and the decline is staggering. A survey by the Military Times finds only 15% of active duty service members approve of the president's job as commander-in-chief. That's compared to 55% who say they disapprove. So why is this happening? Retired General Jack Keane is the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and a Fox News military analyst. Thanks for joining us here this week.
Glad to be here, Molly.
Talk to me about this. Is this about a loss of confidence in the president?
Yeah, basically it's the same issue that the general population has, but with the military it's pretty specific. First, foreign policy. There's a loss of confidence in that policy as it pertains to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, the rise of ISIS, and certainly the power grab that Putin has been exercising in Crimea and Ukraine. But it cuts really deep with Iraq and Afghanistan because our troops have been obviously personally involved there. Their families have sacrificed, they've lost teammates, and many of them by the tens of thousands have been wounded themselves as a result of conflict for the last 13 years. The issues are obvious. One is that given that sacrifice, they resent the fact that we just walked away from Iraq, did not leave our troops, disengaged with the political growth of Iraq, and they know it gave rise to ISIS. And it begins to squander the sacrifice that they made. Also in Afghanistan, the fact is, in Afghanistan, they know that President Obama did not give Generals Petraeus and McChrystal all the troops that they wanted, 25% less, and then pulled them out after they were having some success after a year. And they know now that the president has announced he's going to pull all the troops out of Afghanistan in 2016, similar to what he did in Iraq. Many of the troops who've been there believe that's going to doom Afghanistan to the same fate. So those are very specific issues for them as it pertains to foreign policy.
I mean, when you talk about that, what's happening in the world right now, is there an opportunity for these poll numbers to go up? Given that what we're seeing with ISIS, is there a turnaround point where the troops might be rallied back behind the commander-in-chief?
Well, certainly, yes. But they see the same pattern. Right now with ISIS, we're not committing all the forces. They know that combat brigades, at least in the near term, are not necessary. But they know that there's a weak hand that we're playing in Syria and also in Iraq, and they need more forces to assist those indigenous forces. And we're going at that very incrementally. So that's a pattern that they've seen before, and that's very disturbing to them. The only other thing that bothers them quite a bit is the budget is being slashed so dramatically. It's affecting their quality of their life with their families on these military bases. Every function and every service is being cut back. And also their pay raises have been held at 1%, which is less than inflation.
So this is about spending priorities as well.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And the spending forces the cutback in the size of the forces. So many of the troops out there who intended to make careers out of the military, in fact, are being denied that opportunity because tens of thousands of them are being given pink slips. And this career that they thought, given promises that were made, I mean, these are promises that are tenuous at times, and they know it's not a permanent promise, but they had an expectation that they would be able to make a career out of it, and now that's being denied them. And it's frankly for financial reasons. The budget's being cut. It's the president and the Congress doing sequestration. I understand it's going to be revisited again. At least Senator McCain is indicating that he intends to bring it up, and hopefully he's successful in cutting back on sequestration.
Yeah, not just our military, but so many people around the country look at what's happening in the world, and they don't feel like the world is getting to become a safer place. So when we talk about people not being able to be lifelong military members that want to, is that a part of this?
Yes. The military looks at the world very similar to the way the American people do. I think the issue of foreign policy is about the same. There's a general loss in confidence. I think the other thing that makes it very specific for the military is the quality of life issues that they're having as a result of budget clashes, and also the feeling that the sacrifice that they made may in fact be squandered.
And that they're getting from just looking at current events, looking around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. They know that the United States has disengaged from the world, and that as a result of it, the opinion of the United States is probably at its lowest it's been, certainly in their generation, given their ages and who's in the military from 19 to about 40. And that's a very dramatic change for that generation.
All right, General Jack Keane, thank you so much for joining us. A little insight into what our troops are thinking and feeling, and those numbers for the president. Bill.